I was wondering as well, why is this announcement being made by David Seymour, Associate Minister? This is a massive, massive directional change for education. Where is the Minister of Education? Why is David Seymour, I guess I'm pondering the question, is this his pet thing? Is this a pet peeve of his, or is this a pet cause he wants to get? And is National kind of going, we don't want to we don't put our face to this one?
He has been the one to really talk about this truancy thing at every stage. So I think it is his pet. Right. I mean, there were two announcements on education policy today. Erica Stanford had one, which we'll get to, and Seymour had this one.
Okay. All right. Let's see what this one's all about.
Parents of children who wag school could face prosecution in a new crackdown on truancy. The scheme will be compulsory for all schools from 2026 and provides a tiered guideline for dealing with absent students. Schools and parents will also have more responsibility for making sure they turn up to class. Teacher-only days during term time will also be ditched under the plan. Isabel Prasad has more.
Tamariki in their classrooms at Te Koromiko Swananoa School today.
Makes sense? Yeah.
Across the country, attendance rates are up compared to last year, but the government's still concerned too many students are missing school regularly. Today, announcing new measures to crack down on absenteeism.
There are some schools that are doing a fabulous job, but many schools that simply do not have the policies in place to get students back to school when they're not attending.
Called the Stepped Attendance Response System, or STAR, the government...
I mean, these guys in there making up words that have to fit in. You get given a star, a sticker chart when you're at school. So no matter what they were like, they had to get the word star first, and then they figured out what they'd called it. Stepped Attendance Response. It should be SAR. SAR, please. SAR.
I would love to corner Seymour here and go, which schools aren't doing a good job? Where are they? Because I guarantee some fucking grammar school student called Tarquin who goes European skiing in the middle of term is not going to be the one that this is deployed on.
Yeah.
Because of reasons.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is set up to punish poor people yet again.
Government's guidelines would see parents asked for a reason after an absence of 5 days per term.
Now, I'm interested in this, right? Like, I've had children at school. I have a child at school right now. She had COVID with me a few weeks ago. I told the school every day she's not coming, she's got COVID. I'm wondering how much of a beat up this is. You have to tell your school why the children aren't there. This is coming from ignorance, right? But are they suggesting that a whole ton of parents don't even inform the school? My understanding of standard school practice is the parents phone up and they say such and such. I get a text message if one of mine is not at school and they're unaccounted for. And then we text them back. Like that's what I was doing, texting back going, COVID. So I don't know the stats around this, but they're suggesting that parents are not giving reasons currently as to why their kids are away. Not my experience, maybe the experience of some other schools. Not sure. Do you know anything about that, Joey? Got any thoughts on that?
As a childless dog man. No, I don't. Like I can think back to my own schooling. Like if I was off school sick, mum would call the office and say, "Yeah, he's sick," and that would be it. So I mean, this feels like nanny state overreach. Again, Seymour saying some schools are really bad at this.
Yeah.
Okay. Then why does it need to be a nationwide policy rather than going, hey, you guys need to have a more clearly defined policy for this? Here's some examples from schools that do it well.
Yeah.
Instead, it seems to be something a lot more weaponized that's being rolled out right throughout.
Rua makes a good point here, right? We've done this as well. We give no reasons, and I refuse to give a reason. No one's business. True. Remember also the government and this part of politics is all about, parental responsibility, but parental control, parents' rights. That's what these guys all talk about. That's what the conservative movement's all about. And now they're going like, you must tell us the reason your child's not at school. Like Rua, there's times where I'm just like, an appointment today. I'm picking up such and such early. don't give a reason at all. They're seeming like saying that part of this new criteria is they're going to insist on basically parents justifying why their child is ruining National's school attendance numbers. That's what it sounds like. We'll keep going, eh?
Government's guidelines would see parents asked for a reason after an absence of 5 days per term. After 10 days, school leadership meets with parents and students to make a plan around attendance. And at the 15-day mark, the Ministry of Education gets involved.
Now, I'm assuming they're talking now about 15 days with no reason. Because, 15 days, 3 weeks. So if your kid's away from school for 3 weeks, I think the school needs to understand why. But are we saying that, let's say COVID, let's say operation, something that's serious enough to keep them away, if that kid's away for 15 days from school, I had glandular fever one year. And I was basically in bed for a month with glandular fever. If that happened to a 16-year-old at school, it is the kissing disease. Are they going to be no matter what, once you're at 15 days, once you're at 3 weeks, the ministry is going to get involved? Because yes, they said in the top one, the 5 days, that the school needs to be informed why, but they haven't said at the 10-day one or the 15-day one. Are we just assuming it's more of the same? Like it's 15 days, but the school not knowing why? Or is it just 15 days no matter what? I don't know the answer to that. I don't know if that's come out or not, Chewy.
Why has your child been away from school so much? Well, he had to pick a second shift up at the factory. He's doing nights because our fucking landlords put the rent up. No, he can't come in to have a meeting because mum and dad are on opposite shifts.
Yeah.
So that's the dystopian nightmare that actual real families have to deal with. Like there's been stories about this, kids having to pick up jobs and work near full-time hours to help support their family.
Yeah. And as you've said, this is not going to affect Tarquin, whose mother doesn't work because chooses not to. She can always get to a meeting, but she won't be the one called in for a meeting anyway because Tarquin won't be held to the same standard as the child from a school in South Auckland or South Dunedin or a lower decile area around the country. All right, we'll keep going.
And at the 15-day mark, the Ministry of Education gets involved and parents could be prosecuted. But schools can design the exact system that works for them.
If it leads to more resources, particularly that hiring, that 15-day mark, that's fantastic. That's what really is going to help deal with this issue is support.
That's true. More resources for more work, or a national just going, no. You just do all this, add this all on to top, please. We're going to, principals and senior teachers, you're now going to be having meetings every week based on our rules. No more resource for it, but more work for sure.
Resources for school.
This principal says prosecuting parents should be a last resort.
I think we're better than that in our education system. There are multiple other things that we can do, and they should all be explored before we go into fining parents.
Parents themselves had mixed opinions.
Yeah, it sounds a bit firm, but then again, the numbers for absence are horrific.
I don't actually think that's very fair.
It's a pretty extreme measure, really. I think there's other options they can explore before they do that.
And it's a very good point made by Nicole. What if they're away for 15 days from a charter school? Is there going to be any difference? How's that going to work?
No, they're excluded from that.
Yeah. Yep. So again, the government saying this is the best way that we need to see in the education system, whether it's the maths curriculum or whatever, or whether it's getting kids per school based around what they say is needed. Oh, don't worry about charter schools. We're not going to check you guys on it. Doesn't seem to make sense.
Associate Education Minister says while there are legitimate reasons children miss school, he's aiming at those breaking the rules.
There are some people who could say...
Hang on. You're putting the rules in place for them to break. You're not interested in those breaking the rules, which is a past tense word. You're looking at those who are going to break the rules based on the new rules you're putting in place. So, Chewy, there's a new rule I'm going to put in place that says no pink ties. And anyone who gets a pink tie is going to get a ticket from the police. And now we're just going to go around looking for people breaking the new rules. It's like, this is not necessarily what is happening. It's what you're putting in place. It seems weird to say it's for the ones who are breaking the rules, which are not yet put in place, which we're the ones who are developing. That seems a bit off to me.
Yeah, the whole thing seems off. Like, I love seeing Seymour talk about education, something that he doesn't have a kid. He has zero experience of putting a kid through school.
Yeah.
And yet he seems to be the reigning expert on this. And it is a massive beat up, as it always has been, about attendance numbers coming out of a pandemic.
Yeah. Yep.
Their children to school, they're not a can't, they're a won't, and I believe sometimes it is
Someone's a
right to
can't.
fine.
Also on the firing line,
Yeah, be careful saying that. You can't.
teacher-only days in term time.
They're not something that you can just take willy-nilly, because if the teachers aren't showing up, it's pretty hard to motivate the students to show up.
It's a bit of a misnomer. If the minister's trying to imply that teacher-only days are the cause of student absenteeism, I think he's barking up the wrong tree there.
Schools must have their STAR programs up and running by 2026 as the crackdown continues on kids missing from the classroom. Isabel Prasad, 1 News.
There you go, Chewy. Sir, you can have at it first crack.
Oh, I love his swipe at
Enough
teachers
said.
there with
the sigh,
teachers only
and
days.
that's enough said. Yeah.
You can't have teachers only days willy-nilly. Is that what was happening? Is it?
Yeah.
Were there just so many fucking willy-nilly teachers only days where I assume the teachers sit around in a homeroom, drink wine and talk shit about the kids? It's ridiculous, and it's a disrespectful swipe at teachers. Teachers do professional development in teachers only days. Teachers
100%.
do their lesson planning in teachers only days. It's organizational. It's still work.
It's the reason it feels disrespectful is it's once again a government saying to educators, you're not doing it right. Now, the idea of therefore it means that you're not performing correctly, you're putting out a bad message. Most businesses, whether it's a radio station, I sold computers for a while or whatever, have had professional days where like the part-timers come in or they shut down early on a Friday and they have professional days. Professional development, there's a new system being loaded up that you need to learn, so we all do it on a Friday afternoon or we close at midday. Most businesses do a form of that. And this government's saying, you guys can't do a form of that. That's wrong. It's just bizarre. And having a look once again at what the actual rules are. Remember this as well. 5 days absent is a week, right? Because it's Monday to Friday. So my 15-year-old this term probably is close to the 10-day absent because the COVID thing kept her away from school for probably 6 days. So 5 days absence, the school gets in touch with the parents' guardians to determine the reasons for absence. So the school is now participating in trying to figure out why the child is away. As Rua said, mind your own business, or I've already told you, to determine why the child was away and to set expectations. This to me sounds like middle management language that's being forced onto a group of people who will not do it. Do you really think the school's going to get in touch and go, right, your child's had COVID. Now, what are the expectations to get your... No, I don't see it. 10 days absent, the school leadership meets with the parents or guardians, and the student to identify barriers to attendance and develop plans to address that. I had my appendix out. You know?
I have a
15 days.
chest wound.
At 15 days, escalating the response to the ministry and steps to initiate prosecution of parents could be considered as a valid interaction. I wish you could OIO this. I would love to see the attendance of Christopher Luxon's children at high school, because Chewy, as you're saying, shooting off for a ski holiday during term time, whatever it is, I would love
Go to Hawaii. To Phuket.
To see the holidays or the attendance that Luxon was happy for his kids to have. That would be fascinating. If there's anybody watching who knows the schools that were involved in New Zealand and can figure that out for us, bigheronews@gmail.com. Chewy.
In the chat, we have a teacher.
Right.
Schools will contact home for every unexplained absence already on the day that they are absent. It's a safety thing.
Yeah.
So cool. The government is mandating something that schools already do. Fantastic. Great job, Seymour. Well done.
Well, something that they're already doing and putting another layer of, and we know Seymour loves this stuff, bureaucracy on top, where they're then making the teacher in the school work more and do more without giving them any more resource to do it.
It's also placing the idea in people's heads that don't know any better that, is Aaron in class today? No? Okay. We won't look into that at all. He's just not here. Shrug. Like it's this perception that schools don't give a fuck. It's placing that seed that teachers are useless and they don't do a good job, and only David Seymour riding in with his clipboard can put this right. It's a fallacy. And maybe if schools had more resources, maybe if there was teacher aides, maybe if their classroom sizes were smaller, some of these problems would be resolved.
Yeah.
What's the point of going to school? Because I don't feel I learn anything in my class of 35. I might as well go fuck around down at Quarry. It's just ridiculous.